What is up, everybody? My name is Solo and I make art and beats. My beat making journey started back in September 2023 when I got myself an SP404MK2 and I had huge tons of fun with the unit because it's really capable, I guess, sampler, and I got it a tiny bit before all the great updates came in and they made the whole unit like even better every time. So yeah, it's a great thing. If you use the SP404MK2, you know what I'm talking about. And I did have a couple of live gigs already, and this year I had landed a solid one that will be in 3 months in Prague. So if you are in my city, make sure to check my Instagram for the dates and the place, and it's in the link, or the link is in the description down below, and also there is my Bandcamp account, so you can check my EP Pavement Flowers Roots in Concrete that I have released at the end of 2024, the last year. So I was thinking for this time, for this live gig, to actually spice up my live performance a tiny bit with something interesting. So the finger drumming sections inserted in the live set felt kind of like a natural thing to do, and I was thinking like how to execute that, because I do not want to damage or to destroy my SP404MK2 because I love it, and because I do tend to hit the pads a bit harder than needed sometimes. And also the 404MK2 pads are not very large. It's not very comfy to finger drum on that, and don't get me wrong, I love the pads, I love everything about the SP, but it's not very comfy to finger drum on that as well. And you know, yeah, I could just get the MPC Live 2, and I will be getting the MPC standalone unit this year, but I just do not have the wealth of time right now, and I cannot afford to learn the whole new unit and exercise with the finger drumming to get like much better than I am right now. So I was thinking to get myself a MIDI controller, the pad controller, and the MPC or MPD Akai unit was a logical choice. So first of all, I got myself the MPD 218, which did not work with the SP404MK2 because the SP cannot bus power anything, and at the same time the MPD 218 has only one socket, which is pretty much the USB thing. So yeah, they do not work together. Do not set this up. Do not buy yourself the MPD 218 to hook up with the SP404MK2 without the computer, because it will never happen. Okay. So I got myself the MPD 226, which has the external power separated from the MIDI routing, which is really cool. And I got myself also a Hobby Market wall charger, and your wall charger does need to have 6 volts and 1 amp power setup to power the MPD unit in the right manner. And also the Bus TRS cable for the MIDI that is 60 centimeters long. They sell even 30 centimeters long, but it's really short, so it will not like actually reach the connector, I guess, and I want to have a tiny bit more freedom for setup. So without further ado, let's check the unit, let's check the pads, and let's check how you actually do set up the whole thing together. But first of all, let's just check the SP404MK2 MIDI settings, and to get there you gotta press Shift, pad 13 for utility. You just push enter the encoder over here to get there, and then the knob or control knob 3, you go through the click to the MIDI, so it's the 3rd page. And I did not change a lot actually. Okay, so I have the MIDI sync and auto, everything else is just on over here. Sync delay 2 milliseconds, I do not have a clue what that means. And then the only thing that I did change actually was MIDI mode. So originally it comes with the MIDI mode A like this, and I have the MIDI mode B and pad MIDI channels 1 and 2, and MIDI external sources toggle, but I do not have a clue if it's if it's the right setting or something. I just played with that and found out that this actually works. And what pad MIDI channels 1 and 2 setting does, I believe, is that it gives you the opportunity or possibility to control 8 pad banks from the MPD226 on the SP404 Mark II. And it's the banks A, B, C, and D, and then F, G, H, and I. So you still have 2 uncontrollable banks, E and J. And then the MPD226, it's full plastic. It looks really nice. It's not the lightest unit, I guess, so it does not feel too plasticky. It does have nice endless encoders. It has a nice push encoder over here and 4 faders as well. And you can see that I have labeled it already. I have my bus 3 and 4 controls set to the knobs and the faders, but yeah, a tiny bit later to that. The pads feel really good, and they are very sturdy, not very soft, and they feel nice. I don't mind that they are not soft or whatever. And the box says that they are thick, fat pads. I'm not sure about that. They are kind of thick though, but I'm not sure if that's the same pads that you get on the MPC Live 2 or whatsoever. But yeah, tell me if you know anything about that. And on the back of the unit, you get the MIDI in and MIDI out, the USB and the DC in, which is really important for me. And also they have put the on and off button over here, which is nice. And as you can see, it has 6 volts and 1 amp for the power in. So I have the power cord going to the wall charger, a really cheap one with the DC in over here. Just check the voltage and the amps. And then from here, MIDI out, and be sure to go all the way in, because yeah, it's kind of a stiff, I mean the connector on the MPD226, and then it goes into the MIDI in socket on the SP404 Mark II, and then you just turn it on. And once you turn on the MPD226, you will land on the preset page over here, and with the preset you control that with the push enter knob over here. So it's just an endless encoder that you can push as well for the confirmation of some things that you set. And I guess these are the most used or most popular DAW setup. Over here it's like 15 of them, I believe, or 14, and then you have a couple generic ones which are meant for you to set up. And a very important thing, you will have to set something like 300 controls for the MIDI. So make sure that once you have everything set up, you will use the cursor to get the page to, and here you can store your program. You can also name it, which is really cool. You scroll through that with the cursor over here again, and just enter to store means you push the encoder over here and you have everything stored. If you do not save your preset program, you will have to set the whole thing again, which is fun for the first time, but never fun for the next time. And all the menu thing is controlled with these 3 knobs. So let's check the global settings. And over here, when you get to the global, and the USB A1 common channel controls or lets you to have the control over the pad banks A, B, C, and D. And when you just switch to the USB A2, this will control pad banks F, G, H, and I, which is really sick. There's no menu diving in that. You just go global and you switch. So you can switch very comfortably, and it's very hands-on, like no-brainer thing. You do not have to remember anything. You just go global. Then note display global type number. Right here you set the pads as well, so the threshold, pad gain, and then you have to choose the pad curve, which is linear, S curve, 2 logarithmic, and 2 exponential settings, and I have that in stock. And it just works very nice. And then, yeah, some tempo, and then some of these like settings like internal clock. I do not use that. I do not send anything anywhere. The contrast, yeah, that says the contrast of the display. And you can actually save the global settings, so do save that as well, so you will not lose these settings, which is not huge like deal to set the global settings, but still, yeah, do save that. So you just again push enter, saving globals, that's it, done. Now let's go check the edit thing, and over here on the in the edit page 2, you do not have to set actually the MIDI to DIN to the on setting, so yeah, that's okay, leave it like that. And then as well, when you press the pad on the page 2, you get to set your on and off light color for the pads, which is really cool because I do like to have my pad banks color coded, so I will always know where I'm at. And it's fun to play with, you know, there's a couple of colors that you can use. And for that, on the page 2, you just again scroll with your cursor to get through the pages, and then you get page 3. I never used that, so yeah, that's pretty much it. And now let's just check the MIDI settings and the MIDI routing. I have not actually found any usable or useful MIDI routing information anywhere else but on the Liam Killen's YouTube channel, so do check Liam Killen's channel. And first of all, what he does not have there, because he MIDI routed just the mixer, I guess, to all the effects buses. Do check the tabs, so you will find the tabs in this video, so you can see the CC numbers and stuff like that. And let me walk you through the pad note numbers first. Okay, so we have, for the pads, you have to select the type note, and at the same time you have to find the right note numbers. Well, I mean, you do not have to find the right note numbers because I have done that for you. So it's just to, yeah, enough to check this video. And I have set it in the same layout as I have my pads set on the SP404MK2. So you can see that the pads are kind of flipped, the pad numbers. And I have the pad 1 and the pad 13 on the same spot. Over here, I mean pad 1 on the Akai MPD-226 and the pad 13 on the Roland SP404MK2. And you can see that I trigger the same pads because they light up when I play them. Or when I hit it on the MPD-226, right? And for the bank A, you have pad 1 with the note 12 and all the way through like 13, 15 and so on to the pad 16, which is note 27. When you get to the pad bank B, you will have the pad 1 on note 28 all the way through the whole pad bank to pad 16 with the note 43, and then you have the bank C starting with the pad 1 note 44 going all the way to the note 59 on the pad 16, and then pad bank D is pad 1 note 60 and the pad 16 is note 75, and yeah, again all the way through with all the numbers changing over here. So you just hit the pad, you scroll down to the note, and you change that with the endless encoder over here, and that's like pretty much it. It's really hands-on. You only have to do that once, only if you go to the preset page 2 and save that after. So do store your program so you will not have to set something like 300 controls every time, because it's a needless pain. You also get 3 control banks, which I will not use most probably, but I use this routing, which I will get to in a couple of minutes. And then you have 4 nice endless encoders. You just have to twist that, activate it to see the CC number, and to set the USB bus and something like that, or and everything of that. And also you just move the fader and you get to set the MIDI routing to that. And the Roland did this thing that it gives us the opportunity to control bus 1, 2, 3, and 4 and internal, or the input effects with the MIDI. There's not enough controls to control everything from the MPD 226, but I'm really used to controlling the bus 1 and bus 2. I have melodic sections on bus 1, I have the drum sections on bus 2, and I have my bass section always dry, not to distort it when live too much. So yeah, it might be a not nice surprise actually when you kick when you distort your bass too much. So I'm cool with having bus 1 and 2 just controlled from the SP404 Mark II. But I have set the bus 3 into these 2 columns, and I have the bus 4 in these 2 columns, which is really nice. And I have currently my vinyl sim, the 303 vinyl sim, set to the bus 3, and the bus 4 goes to the cassette sim, and I have everything labeled to just remember it. So these are just the stickers that I have labeled, so I know what is where. And then the funny thing is that the 16 level works nice. That's just what it is. So the last sound that you played on the SP404 Mark II, and you play or you press the 16 levels, you get the 16 levels as you are used to that. Even if the setting of the velocity on the SP404 Mark II is set to fix. So you control whatever you play on the pads over here on the MPD 226, you do have the control over that with these buttons, and you actually can play with a different velocity or set your velocity for the SP pad over here with shift and pad 1. Some of the buttons on the MPD 226 do not control anything on the SP404 Mark II, so forget about time division, stop, play, and rack. So the transport buttons are redundant here for us. Note repeat, I do not know. Tap tempo, I do not care. But the time divisions, 1/4, 1/8, 1/16, and 1/3, 32nd, they are MIDI routable. So I have the bus 3 on and off here, which is USB A3 means bus 3, USB A4 means bus 4, USB A5 means input, and then USB 1 and 2 that you will see here when you change it are bus 1 and 2. Check the tabs again, everything is on your screen right now. And the on and off is always the CC number 19 for the current USB MIDI channel. So even with the bus 4, I have the USB 4 over here and CC number 19. So you just scroll there with your cursor, and then you change that with the enter knob, which is really cool. It's really easy, hands-on again, very intuitive. And then I have, let me put this on. So to get to the bus 3 and 4 effects settings on the SP404 Mark II, you go to Shift and pad 16 for effects settings. And as you can see, there is 303 vinyl sim on the bus 3, and there is a cassette sim on the bus 4. And once you just turn it on over here, you can control whatever there is, and you have that MIDI routed. If you if you actually MIDI map it. Okay, so we'll set it in a minute. And as you see here on the 404 Mark II display, I have the control over the bus 3 on these two, and compression, that's cool with the endless encoder for me. Noise, again, that's very nice with the endless encoder. Again, then we have the wow flutter, and I love the fader for the flutter. It just feels so nice, and you can do different sweeps and stuff like that, and it's very cool. And also there is the level control, which is really great because you can control your overall volume of your set with that. So you can turn it on, just leave the whole thing dry, and just control your level over here, and you do not have to reach to this knob every time to like pretty much control the volume on the output, which is very dope. I love this setting, and I love the control or the level of the control and the amount of it that it gives me. And I have this thing set up. So we have the compressor, which is control number 1, and it's on the bus 3, so USB A3 setting for MIDI channel, and the CC number is 16. Then we have the noise, which is control number 2 over here, and that's MIDI number or CC number 17. Then we got the wow flutter, which is control number 3 on the page 1 of the control settings of the effects in the bus 3 and 4 over here. So you can see the wow flutter reacting to that in the real time. And then we have the level, so the volume thing over here, which is CC number 80. So it lives in a tiny bit different place. I believe you get like 127 CC numbers or something like that. I'm sorry, correct me if I'm mistaken something. And then you go to bus 4, and over here is the same story again. So the CC number for on and off button is 19, but it's bus 4, so we have the MIDI channel set to USB A4, and I have my cassette sim controls over here. So we have the tone, something that you can do the tone sweeps with during live performance, and I'm cool to control that with an endless encoder. It just feels very nice. And again, it's the control 1 on the page 1 in the upper row of the controls on the SP404 Mark II. The CC number is 16. Then we have the H, really cool with the knob again. I'm cool with that, not having the fader for it, but I have put it on the knob over here. And the H means control number 3 in the first row on the first page of the effects controls again. And it's number 18. And in between the hiss would be number 17. Then we got the wow flutter, which is the second row, which means that it's a CC number 81, so the second page of the controls. And then we got the catch, and I love having the fader for the flutter and the catch again because it's so intuitive to me. You know, it just feels legit. And the CC number is 82. So we have the second row, the second page of the effects controls on the CC number 80, 81, and 82. Check the tab on screen again, everything is there. And once you have your settings for the bus 3 and 4 on the SP404 Mark II turned on, let me get to the first page, the favorites again over here. Once you turn it on, it's on. And to get the control over that with the Akai MPD 226, you just turn it on and off, and these are off now. So the bus 3 and 4 is off right now, and to turn it back on, you just click the button. You can set it the on and off thing to whatever of the from these buttons, but I do have it set to the kind of edge, you know, to the side of the whole button bank over here, so it's really like easy to remember for me. I could choose just the two things to have the control over from my MPD 226 to the SP404 Mark II, and to control 4 buses, but that is not enough for me. I want to have a tiny bit more of a control over the separate things, over separate parameters. So you cannot control 6 because it would take like 6 controls, and that's too much again for me. So yeah, I guess this is a nice balance to have the control over 4 things in every bus. It just makes kind of sense that you pretty much gotta choose something with a limited amount of control knobs. And if you do want to join me on my finger drumming, beat making and artistic path, do subscribe, okay? Because I am planning a couple of videos touching about the things how I prepare my beats for the live performance. I really do think it's very different from the other guys that do play live with the SP404MK2, and I will share my progress with the finger drumming, because you can tell I'm friggin' rusty right now. I'm only a couple of hours into that, and I only have 3 months to get competitive, or I guess good enough to really perform 4 or 5 solid finger drum sections along with the regular way of playing the SP404MK2 live. So it's a lot of challenge. I have a lot of illustrative work to do right now. So yeah, it's a tiny bit of time and it's a huge challenge for me. I'm really have to push very hard. So yeah, if you want to have some fun and see me struggling and challenging myself and finger drumming at midnight and stuff like that, bothering my wife, hitting the pads way too hard, causing all the havoc in our flat, then do join the channel, okay? Thank you very much. I appreciate you. God bless. Much love. Stan Solo is signing off.
Se você